Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you're watching the world. My name is Sean Driver. We're back into the Who Are You series. Sutton United FC up tomorrow, Tuesday. Again, another late video, but we're going to jump into it. So Sutton United, here's the question. And let's get into it. Sutton United FC, nicknames: the Us, the Yellows, the ever-interesting Amber and Chocolates. Inherited from Sutton Association FC, one of the teams that they amalgamated with back in their history. It stands for the jersey colors, Amber and Chocolate. Location: Sutton in South London. Population 209,600. Their stadium, Gander Green Lane, known for sponsorship reasons as VBS Community Stadium, opened in 1912, but it was built in 1898. Prior to that, it's, as I understand, it was used as a community field for the community, open parks, that sort of thing. Capacity only 5,032, and of that, only 765 of that is seated. So if you want to put that into perspective, you look at the Rock, just outside of Wrexham, it's got a capacity of 3,000 with a seating capacity of 500. So that's sort of the ballpark of what we're looking for size of stadium in Sutton. Their attendance, 3,240 so far this season. That puts them 19th overall out of the 24 teams. Distance away from the racecourse, this one a bit of a jaunt, obviously, down to London, 209 miles, 336 kilometers. The turnover, not one I'm going to dig for. You go to the company's house for their financial records. It's a lot of statement of accounts, shareholder information, resigning of directors, rehiring of directors. A lot of information other than what I was looking for, and I'm just not going to dig for it. As to the history for Sutton, formed in 1898, but played largely in junior and amateur leagues until it reached a regional amateur level in 1921. Then it was up to the Isthmian, which is Tier 7, Tier 8 in 1964. From there, they did advance up to the conference in 1986, and then they were relegated back up into the conference, 98-99, relegated the year after, back up in 2003, 2004, to what was then Tier 6, and then back down in 2007-09, back up, and you catch this ebb and flow, 2015, 2016, and then they hit the EFL for the first time in their history, 2020, 2021, and this is their third season in the EFL. Their kit still with those amber and chocolate jerseys. The home and the third jerseys have me thinking of the San Diego Padres, and I actually like the home and the third jersey. I am thrown off by that away jersey. It has no connection to the badge, the history of the teams, their colors, the design history. I don't get green away. Is it slightly better than maybe the white and red that they had in years prior? Maybe, but O'Neill's, why don't we have just plays on that amber and chocolate color? Use the thirds as an away, come up with something creative for the third. Look at the San Diego Padres. They have a history of really interesting jerseys, pinstripes and horizontal things, all with... Anyway, the jerseys are okay, average grades, carrying on. Bookie odds, 16th tie anyway, for 16th in the middle of the table is where they were expected to be. Obviously, they are way below expectation, sitting in the basement. 2 wins, 1 draw, 11 losses for 7 points. They have the worst goals against in League 2 with 33, and the worst goals for versus goals against or goal differential at minus 14. I don't want to throw out the bad juju and curse it and end up having a team end up taking away a win when it wouldn't be expected, but Sutton United has had no points taken away from home. We'll see. I feel like I put it out into the universe. EFL Cup so far this year with the history, they had a third round loss to Port Vale. Interestingly enough, despite being in the basement of League 2, they were able to beat 8th in League 1 Wickham, and they were also in the second round able to beat Cambridge United, who's 18th in League 1, before they finally lost to Port Vale, who's presently sitting in 14th. In the EFL Trophy, they've got a game coming up November 14th against Charlton Athletic, and basically they win, they advance into the next round. If they lose, that's the end of the EFL Trophy for them. Last 5 games, 1 win, 0 draws, 4 losses. Their last match, a 3-2 loss to Morecambe at home, and when you go through the stats and the analytics, all from FotMob here, this one was actually interesting because they didn't seem to perform too well, except they didn't have a lot of big chances. 19 shots and only 2 big chances. They were able to muster 191 passes to only 155, which that number of passes is exceptionally low in League Two, where you normally see teams in the middle of the pack in the 300 pass territory. They were able to have more possession, but they were behind on expected goals, largely because of missing on target. I'm curious as to what happens offensively, because what you see is a bad accuracy rate. And then you see problems in the back end, and you'll see that in the stats. The midfield and the defenders seem to be okay with Sutton United. It's that they're horrible in goal, and they're not getting what they needed to out of the forwards. So that one was an interesting one, because not as bad as the rest of them. Then you start looking at the 4-1 drubbing away to Doncaster, their second match. Only 36% possession, half the shots, less shots on target, less corners. The only area where they had maybe some success, arguably, is that they had more big chances, but really that was a deserved loss. Then they had a 4-0 win at home to Walsall. That maybe a draw would have been more likely, maybe a 1-0 win. They had 44% possession. They were equal on shots. They had one more shot on target than Walsall did. They were behind in passes. So it should have been a closer game based on expected goals, but eke out a win, 3 points, they probably took that away. The next 2 games, though, are clear evidence as to sort of what the track record has been for Sutton United and where they've struggled. Like the Doncaster game, that home loss to Salford, they were behind in all categories. And then the 3-0 trouncing away to Crawley Town, 34% possession, ouch. Only 2 shots on target out of 8, ouch. No big chances. Only 63% accuracy on 183 passes. You compare that to Crawley, who had 479. That game probably should have been worse than 3-0. Just didn't show up. So you've got this, they do play well occasionally, but there's a lot of games where they're just being dominated in possession and number of stats. Now that the season's advanced a little bit, get an opportunity to compare some of the stats for the team. And when you go through comparing Wrexham to Sutton United, shots on target, Wrexham 85, Sutton United 48. That's first for us and 24th for them. Here's the rest of them just up on screen. Just to pull a couple of them, you got shots on target relatively close in the middle of the pile. Saves tied at 33. Which I find fascinating. Possession, 48% to 41.93%. So neither team really possessing a lot of ball, below the average, what you'd expect at 50%. Accurate passes per match, Sutton near the bottom. Accurate crosses per match, Sutton in the middle of the table, but us leading. And then long balls per match, you've got us at 4th and them at 23rd. So accuracy, moving the ball forward, an issue for Sutton United. Problems in the back end, well, not in the back end as far as the defenders in goal. That's their story. And then just not converting enough up front. Last match with Wrexham, March 6, 2021. It was behind closed doors, that obviously due to COVID. Away in the National League, Sutton United that year won the league. We were 8th, 1 point off of making the playoffs. That's due to a draw against Dagenham and Redbridge in the final game. Paul Rutherford took a red card. It impacted the entirety of the game, and both Chesterfield and Bromley won to steal the last playoff spots on the last day, and I guess it didn't really matter because Hartlepool United won the playoffs. But the connection to Wrexham, nothing on our side. On their side, Omari Patrick had 10 games on loan over 2 months when he was with Bradford City. He came to Wrexham in 2019-2020, where he had 5 goals during those 10 games. Last season's performance for Sutton United, 15 wins, 13 draws, 18 losses. That was good for 58 points. Scary thought. Last season, the last playoff spot was at 15 losses. And so when you look at where they're at right now, literally, they have only 4 losses left, and they'd already be eliminated this point of the season from any chances of really moving up. I get it. At this stage, they're probably not looking at promotion. They're looking at just avoiding relegation, but that's how bad the start to the season has been for them. Matt Gray, been there since 2019. You got to give it to the guy who got you to where you are. I guess that's the theory. 87 wins, 54 draws, 74 losses. He ended his playing career when he was 25. Largely those games outside, well, not largely, entirely outside of the EFL. Turned to coaching, became an assistant in League Two for Aldershot Town and then Crawley. And then in December 2018, he was an assistant at Sutton United. So when the manager stepped down, he became the interim manager, proved his worth. He became the manager, carried on, led them to the EFL, and he's still there 4 years later. We'll see what happens if they end up getting punted at the end of the year. But I think they're taking the back of the guy who's advanced them. There's some trust there. There's recognition of what he's offered to them, and I appreciate that. I think that's what should happen. Selfishly, looking at the players, I just want to see Good Life, Beautyman, and Cashkit. But Good Life's a defender, Beautyman's a midfielder, Cashkit's a forward. I want to see them in the lineup together just because I want to see the passing combination of Cashkit, Beautyman, Good Life. I don't know. I'm a teenager, and I think that's funny. Forwards, it wasn't funny. I get it. I'll take it back. I'm not a comedian. Forwards, and what to expect from the roster moving forward. Harry Smith, 28, 727 minutes, 6 goals, leading the league. And you look at his stats as far as shot conversion rate and his ability to his shot accuracy, not that bad. He's certainly in the running. He's certainly there, maybe with 6 goals and only getting the 2.15 shots per 90. You'd like to see that a little bit higher, although he is in the 92nd percentile as being the lead man. But it's not horrible. Those are okay, but as far as who else is around him, Aidan O'Brien, 30, 698 minutes. You take a look at his numbers, only 11 shots taken while playing up front, 3 that were on target. That's the 66th percentile and isn't going to get it done. And the consequence of that is you go down to his shot conversion rate, 48th percentile, and his accuracy, 33rd percentile. Aidan O'Brien not getting it done. That's where that's at. As far as I said, comparing Harry Smith, and he has those numbers of 92% in percentile shots taken. Paul Mullen, only 93rd. Shots on target, Harry Smith actually ahead of Paul Mullen. And then, he's got decent numbers. He's arguably ahead of Paul Mullen so far on per 90 stats. Now that said, in comparing Smith to Mullen, Mullen has a bigger upside. That's what I expect. That's what I anticipate. Coming back from injury, you're not going to expect those great numbers, and so take that for what you will. But at the end of the day, Harry Smith not performing bad. Midfielders, Omari Patrick, 27, 942 minutes, and he's got 5 goals. And you look at the formations that they've had, there's been times where he's played in a formation up front, so I've taken his shot numbers. He's still getting 1.75 shots. He's got a shot conversion rate of 25%, which is in the 89th percentile. His accuracy is in the 96th percentile. You just saw Paul Mullen's stats. Omari Patrick's rather impressive, so I think you'd want to push him forward, especially considering how poorly O'Brien has been doing. And they've done that at times. I don't know if he'll fit in the midfield or fit in as a forward for this one. We will see how it goes. The other midfielder they have, Josh Colley, 4 assists, and that's the highest number on the team. 25 years of age, 915 minutes, and you go to Footy stats and they've got nothing for him. I don't get it. I dug, searched, can't find it. I just don't know how it's possible, 14 games into the season, that they're not going to have stats up for Josh Colley. A little bit disappointed there, despite all the amazing work that Footy Stats does. Go check them out. Ching. I'm not even being promoted. Craig Clay, 31, 888 minutes. And those are just ugly stats. Brutal assists. And I would have brought up his defensive stats, but they were equally as poor. I don't know why he's getting so many minutes. He's obviously not offering a lot. He's near the bottom in every single statistical category. So wherever Mr. Clay is, that's where we want to push the ball. I'll call it out right now. Defenders, Joe Kizzy, Ben Goodlife, Omari Swanmi, and Robert Milson are anticipated based on the last little run. Joe Kizzy, 30, 1,166 minutes played. You look at his defensive stats, nothing stands out, nothing horrible. Considering the number of minutes, you'd want to have his aerial duels, his ground duels, his clearances be a little bit higher than that. We'll compare to Ewan O'Connell at the bottom when this is all finished, but there's a lot of light green there, and you'll see the difference when we get to Ewan. Ben Goodlife, he is their top defender. Not so good with ground duels, 69th percentile, but he's strong in the air. You expect that from a center back. He's good with his clearances, and so solid at 24 years of age. And so he's got upside to his game. Could be looking to move up, and he's certainly performing for a Sutton United team that's not getting a lot done. Omar Swanmi, 27, 942 minutes. Again, not as strong on the ground duels. That's a bit of a theme, 76 percentile. But from a center back, what do you want? Be good in the air. He's got that covered, and he's taking care of circumstances there. And then Robert Milsom, 27, 534 minutes. Ground duels, 193rd percentile, which is impressive, but I'm assuming that Milsom's going to be on the right side. And he's not really as strong in aerial duels as a center back, but he is stronger in the ground duels. That's sort of what you want. Just as a comparison, and this I found to be fascinating, which is why I put it up, is O'Connell ground duels won 90th percentile. That is impressive to me. And his dribbled past, he's only been dribbled past once in the 88th percentile. For the number of times that we've had problems with defenders running at us, O'Connell's actually, to my surprise, and I'll admit, I gave him a lot of stick and criticism during the watch party, hasn't been impressing me with his passing and his moving the ball forward. It's been frustrating. He's been responsible for a number of horrible turnovers and occasionally be out of position. But I look at his stats, and that ground duels one number stands out. So you compare that in the aerial duels, center back, that's what you expect. But he is doing exceptionally well defensively and far better than any of the back line for Sutton United. And so here is the problem for Sutton United. It's in goal. They started with Jack Rose. He started games 1 through 7. 22 saves on 40 shots. That's 55%. That's horrible. Bottom of the pile, except for one other. And that's Dean Bozanis, 33, who they went out to get from League One in Reading. He had one game in Reading, the opener. Then he played a PL2 match for Reading's under-21 team, and then he was loaned out. And he came in, started the 8th game, and he's been continuing 8 through 14. Whew, prepare yourselves. 11 saves on 23 shots. That's less than half. That's 47.8%. Therein lies a substantial reason as to why Sutton United is performing so poorly. Not bad up front. Got some problems in the midfield. They're okay in the center positions on the back line, but questions on the outside. And then they've got atrocious goalkeeping. As a comparison, Mr. Ogonkwo, 20 saves on 25 shots. That's 80%. That's impressive. So, you know what? Ran through this one in a relatively quick hurry. Look, we've been running the watch party every Tuesday, Saturday when it's come up. I don't know if I'm going to be able to do Tuesday. It's late on a Monday night. I've got a family issue to deal with tomorrow. Nothing serious, but I'm going to be where I need to be at 10 o'clock in the morning, and the game starts at 11:45, and I don't think I'll be back for kickoff. I haven't found, or I haven't even reached out because it's just all come about. I haven't reached out to somebody who's going to jump up and potentially take it. So we'll see what ends up happening here. I'll send a message out after I get this posted. If it's up, it's up. If it's not, I apologize. We'll be there for Saturday. Check out the watch party when you get the opportunity. Subscribe to this. I say that after I just ended up being like, I'm not going to be able to bring the watch party, but please click the subscribe button if you like this content. I am going to have another look at the comments on the Bradford City, the second version. It didn't get as many hits as I normally get for the videos, so I might be changing some things up and improving those. What we always do to finalize these videos is compare Sutton United to a professional sports club in North America as well as to a food. Let's do the professional sports club right off the bat. I've only got one in my head, and that's going to be the Arizona Coyotes. And I hate to say it because I'm a fan of one of their goalkeepers, but traditionally horrible goaltending. And this year, I don't want to call it horrible. I like the guy, but just bad. And that's the situation with Sutton United. Not a strong team and just weak in goal. So I'm going to go with the Phoenix Coyotes, Arizona Coyotes. Sorry, they've changed their name. And as to a food, one that leaves just a bad taste in your mouth. Let's go with Parmesan cheese. Tastes great when you first put it in and then just leaves that stank. And that's Sutton United's season so far. That's Sutton United as you move towards the back end and the bad aftertaste. We'll go with that. So again, watch party, I'm still up in the air on it. We'll see whether I can find somebody to fill in. Well, it'll be the one person I always go to who I'm exceptionally thankful for, Brendan. But if he's not available, I know it's 11th hour pressure on. I just don't think I'm going to be able to make it because I got to deal with this thing. So we'll figure it out. We'll be back. Sean Driver, this is the Red Horde. We'll catch you next time. Cheers.